And a good Sunday midday to you. Roger Hill of Weathering Heights, VELCO Weather Hazards Forecaster, this VELCO Weather Hazards Outlook. This weather video is driven by 802cars.com. It represents 802 Toyota, Twin Cities Subaru, and 802 Honda, all located off of Exit 7 on Interstate 89. Bigger picture here, little bit of a bandwidth issue, but you can see considerable amount of smoke. And, of course, the California wildfires. And you can see that the smoke is now spread into eastern Montana, the Dakotas. It looks like even getting into now northern Minnesota. And this is going to get wrapped in the sort of west to northwesterly jet stream and the airflow that's going to bring it in eventually into eastern Canada and, of course, the northeast United States. We got smoke incoming, no doubt about that. Okay, for the tropics, we have 3 systems to watch. First of all, I'm going to get rid of Genevieve here. This is the leftovers of Genevieve. Now, it was modeled to bring in some thunderstorm activity along the peninsula range here from Baja California north into the San Jacinto Mountains, for example, east or west of the Imperial Valley, and then the San Bernardinos, Joshua Tree Country, the Little San Bernardinos, and then back up into Tehachapi, the Southern Sierra, and whatnot. Expecting to see some thunderstorm activity. Maybe not the dry lightning quite yet, but it looks like Genevieve's moisture here, as you can see, is more or less offshore from San Diego, west of LA, west of Point Conception, Santa Barbara, and then back up into parts of Northern California is expected to spread in. It doesn't look as severe as the last go-round, but needless to say, we're still awaiting some of that action, probably still a good 12 hours out, maybe 24 hours out. Needless to say, we have a lot of smoke, but this is also part in the flow that's spinning counterclockwise around the leftovers or remnants of what was Hurricane Genevieve, which is a Category 3 hurricane at one point. Now, we have Marco. This is Tropical Storm Marco. It's forecast to spin up to a Cat 1 hurricane. Latest modeling has been trying to take it into basically Louisiana. Some of the models want to bend that and sort of walk it into, as it sort of decreases toward, say, eastern parts of Texas. This over here is Tropical Storm Laura. It's taking a track through the island of Hispaniola and Cuba, and once it dumps out in the Gulf of Mexico, it is expected to also spin up as a Category 4 hurricane. So Laura probably has a little better chance here a little bit later on. Now, the two of these systems will be coming ashore not very far from each other. This, of course, Laura is working pretty quickly. It's going to be encountering a lot of mountains. It has been. It's starting to lose a little bit. And we have, of course, Marco across the Gulf of Mexico in very warm sea surface temperatures. And this is expected to reach a Category 1 hurricane probably faster than what we'll see with Laura. But the two are kind of in tandem right now, and it's been that way for about a week now with fairly decent modeling, although there's some indications that things are starting to come apart a little bit. Once we head toward the coast, we'll have to wait and see about that. This will be no threat for any utilities up and down the eastern seaboard. Back to the tropics we go. Okay, this is Tropical Storm Laura, and Laura is a moderate tropical storm, almost near hurricane right now with Marco, and Marco's forecast path, again, you can kind of see is just a little bit left of what Laura's forecast path is to be. And indications are a little bit more into Texas, maybe the southwestern corner of Louisiana. Needless to say, you can see how it curves out to sea, and we'll get to that at the end of this video. Look at all the smoke. These are smoke reports here throughout California, Idaho, some smoke even being reported in Rapid City, South Dakota, and so forth. This is basically fog. And, of course, we have some weather systems kind of cutting across the northern tier regions right now with a little bit of shower, a couple isolated thunderstorms. Really nothing. I don't anticipate anything major, and we may not be required to get a sub-alert for this afternoon. It's something we're going to be very much on the edge. Okay, this is precipitable water, a great metric to see where the tropical storms are, for example. This is, of course, the leftovers of Genevieve, starting to get some increase in higher precipitable water. This is around 4 or 5 sigma, standard deviation above normal in precipitation or moisture, available precipitation, you might say. This is, of course, Laura. This is Marco, and we'll run the model. You can see where it's all going here. So this is... that was a little bit earlier on this morning. And you can see this is Marco getting ready to come very close to the mouth of the Mississippi, but watch what happens. Marco kind of falls apart right in that general vicinity. Meanwhile, back at the ranch up in parts of Northern California, much available moisture for popping shower and thunderstorm activity. Maybe a little bit more in Northern California than Southern California and central areas, for example. And then for our neck of the woods, a lot of this is this western moisture gets up in the jet stream, the sort of polar branch of the jet, and these weather systems come in as shortwave troughs. And this is what we're going to see, some fairly active weather between now and Tuesday, including Tuesday. And once that goes on by, we're going to see that drop in of much drier and also cooler weather and an end to thunderstorm activity. This is a frontal boundary that we'll work on through on Tuesday. And then we can see we dry out with low precipitable waters, standard deviations around 1 to 2, almost 3 right there, and that's fairly dry. So we'll have some crisp autumn weather, or a little bit of a touch of it anyway, by the time we hit Wednesday. And then as we get into a little bit beyond that, I have to jump back to the 0Z model run, and we can see the leftovers of what will be Laura. It'll be taking a track, basically kind of a tighter horseshoe, if you will, as it's going to be suppressed by this area of higher pressure, all of our drier weather up in eastern Canada. And you can see that moisture really never makes it. What does make it is Pacific moisture up in a little higher latitude. And so this is valid next Tuesday, the 1st of September, and so forth. That's about as far as I'm going to be able to go here. So much more limitations once we get past this coming Tuesday. That is for Wednesday through the end of next week and probably the next weekend. Even though we'll have unsettled conditions, we might see a little bit more frequent amounts of lighter rain shower activity. It looks like we're going to be out of the zone for convection. GFS Ensemble centered on Montpelier, Vermont, the GFS Ensemble Canadian Ensemble mix. And so we have 3 days. This is our convection today on Sunday. Nothing overnight. Then on Monday it returns, lingers a little bit into the overnight. This is valid 12Z. That's about 8 o'clock in the morning. And then finally on Tuesday, this is when a fairly powerful cold front will move on through. These are just lighter showers. Expect a little bit of a minor system that may affect us on basically the southern and far western parts of Vermont. It looks like most of that's going to miss us, according to the European. The GFS has it in our neck of the woods here. And you can see there's really not a whole lot of precipitation. But I'm a little bit doubtful on the amount of precipitation. It just seems a little bit out of ordinary here. This is 1 inch, 1.5 inches. I don't think we're going to see 1.5 inches accrued in the next really 2.5, 3 days. I just don't see it. Latest indications, the latest model run is much more like this. Only about 5/10 of an inch as conditions have dried out considerably. Promises. Weather Prediction Center 7-day total accumulated precipitation amounts. Look at this, 2 inches. 1.5 inches, 1 inch in the blue here, less a little bit across southern parts of New England. I'm going to say this is probably overdone. I hope it's correct. We need the rain. In this drought-stricken summer of 2020, across the Northeast and New England anyway, we're also above normal temperature currently right now. This is the cooler air that's going to be dropping in, being displaced by the warming that's taking place across northern Greenland, parts of the Canadian archipelago, and then into Alaska and eastern Siberia. That's going to force a little bit of cooler air, and some of these weather systems are going to be riding that jet stream and into northern New England. What does it mean? Well, it means that these are 2-meter temperatures on the GFS Ensemble centered on Montpelier, Vermont, near 80 degrees for the next couple of days. We drop down a little bit more into the 70s. And then we're into the 60s for a couple days, or in that range of 65 to 75, and we kind of level on out. Now, I showed you the QPF, or the total amount of precipitation, but I also want to show you the 2-meter temperature dew points. So we're into some fairly moderately humid weather. Some of that kind of spikes near 70 degrees during most of these evenings, the next couple of days. Today, again, it looks like Monday evening. Tuesday evening, that frontal system is going to knock that dew point temperature downward. We're looking at a very sharp cold front, but those two meter dew point temperatures should line up very nicely with precipitable water, and it does. You can see what the drop is. This is significantly, about 3 standard deviations below normal for precipitable water. That's going to be some mighty fine sunshine and rather crisp conditions. Oftentimes when we get this very dry air, we'll get some high-level moisture in the form of high clouds that will filter the sunshine. That's a possibility at times, but then we see that precipitable water sort of line up and so forth. Overall temperature scheme, we're looking at neutral conditions with a little bit of a chillier condition to the north of us. And let's see, about 3 days later, it looks like this. So let's get into the tropics. Here's Tropical Storm Laura. This morning, sustained winds around 50 miles per hour. Taking a track again that's going to take it over Cuba and the mountainous areas. Here's Marco out in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. It's going to be feeding off some very warm conditions, warm sea surface temperatures above normal there. And the loop current, we got Marco with 70 mile per hour sustained winds. It's going to be a hurricane before too long. That's Marco. Polo. I'm sorry, that is Laura. Okay, I'm going to start this run over. Here we go. This is Marco. I'm sorry, that's Laura. Here's Marco. And you can see where these are going to go. This is the European 51-member ensemble. And it does a pretty tight horseshoe. Look at that. These are all the different model runs with all the different areas of centers of low pressure. Only a couple make it up into our neck of the woods. That's it from here. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Thanks for watching.